Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk about Sir Charles Mackerras, or Charlie, as his friends called him. What a marvelous conductor. I've had the opportunity to mention his recordings previously in other talks, but there is a box, a Charles Mackerras box, a little box. There are some other boxes we'll deal with in due course, but I'm talking about this one, which is on EMI Warner. It's now on Warner. It's an icon box, and it just says Charles Mackerras. It just doesn't say anything else. Music of, I don't know, it says music of orchestral something. It's unbelievable how hard it is to get your arms around a large body of his work. Charles Mackerras was unquestionably one of the great conductors of the 20th and beginning of the 21st centuries. He truly was. When you think about how much stuff he has enriched us with, if it weren't for him, we would not know Janácek. We wouldn't know Handel the way we know Handel. He was a pioneer in period performance in a good way. His Mozart, I mean, just one composer after the other. Everything check. Even his Beethoven is great. I mean, the man literally never made a bad record. He didn't. He absolutely did not. One of the shortcomings of his career, however, was that he didn't have a regular long-term relationship as an orchestral conductor with an orchestra. And he didn't make records for any one label with any consistency. He made lots of records for all of them. And so in today's world, where things are particularly screwy, it's really very difficult to find all of his stuff, gather it together, put it in a box, do what they're doing for all of these other conductors who are nothing next to him. Because Mackerras was a guy who just loved music. He dripped music. He oozed music. I had the great privilege to know him when we gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Cannes Classical Awards. I met him and was in touch with him basically up until his untimely death. And what a wonderful, wonderful man he was. I mean, just fascinated by anything musical. Anything and everything. We had discussions about the score of Dvorak's opera, Kate and the Devil. We had talks about period instrument performance and early music. We discussed Janácek. We discussed so much stuff. I gave him the original percussion parts for Das Lied von der Erde, which I found in the Morgan Library, Mahler's original intentions in one of the songs of Beauty. That nobody had gotten right, actually, in any of the published scores that I'm aware of, and he vowed to perform it that way in Edinburgh. I mean, he just loved everything, and he wanted to try it all out and see how it worked, and you knew when he did something, it was going to be done fantastically well, that its musical values would always be of the highest quality, even if you disagreed with one of his performances. And I wanted to talk about him specifically in some context or other than individual performances. But go find a Mackerras box. There are two on Superfund containing all of the Czech performances he did on that label, and you should get those. You should get those if you don't have them. In fact, I have them right here somewhere. Let me see. Here they are. You see? I just have to reach up. I have them ready to hand. Voila. These are the Mackerras boxes, and we will talk about them at some point and play some samples because they are hot, 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 hot. But for the moment, what I would like to talk about is this, because I was tooling around through like Amazon UK and the US just to see what's in print, because I do these talks and I do feel guilty when stuff isn't available. And I know some of you are on streaming services and others like physical product, but I like to know that the discs are around. And an amazing amount of these EMI icon boxes are still available. I was shocked. I figured everything's out of print, but no, they've been transferred. They now have little Warner logos, and they're still around. And this is one of the ones that was still around. So I wanted to tell you about it fast so you can get it while you can. It's only 5 discs, but it happens to be an extremely well-curated selection that really reveals Mackerras' versatility as a conductor, because there is nothing in here that's bad. Nothing. It's all terrific. And the range will shock you. I mean, whoa, baby. Let me tell you what's in here. Disc by disc. I've got the little booklet here. Okay, disc number 1. And let's just go through this. You're not going to believe what's in here. And it's all great. I'm not kidding. It's all terrific. Okay, Mozart Symphony Number 40 with the London Philharmonic. This is one of his earlier ones before he did the more period-y type Mozart. But it is a splendid Mozart G minor. And Dvorak 7, which he always conducted fabulously well and did a couple of times. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Disc number 2. Arthur Sullivan. Let's not forget, Mackerras was a Sullivan scholar. He led the revival of serious interest in Arthur Sullivan, who was England's greatest composer. Let's not forget that either. And I'm not kidding. Sullivan was. I mean, he wipes the floor with Elgar. He was a tremendous composer who wrote a heck of a lot of music. Mackerras discovered and edited his cello concerto and performs it here with Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's absolutely terrific. And then you get Janácek Sinfonietta, that famous early one he did with the Pro Arte Orchestra. It was wonderful. It's still out there somewhere. And then as a dessert, as a little tidbit afterwards, Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring, again with the London Phil. And what an exciting, fantastic Rite of Spring it is. And that's the thing with Mackerras. It didn't matter what he did it all well, but effortlessly, it seemed. I mean, the joy of music making seemed to just ooze from every pore of his being. And you hear it in his performances, and you hear it in this Rite of Spring. It's just exciting and really well played and tremendous. So then we get to disc number 3. You get Delius, Paris, the Song of a Great City. You won't hear that better performed, and that's a gorgeous work. If you don't know Paris, you should hear Paris. It is beautiful and not nearly as droopy as some later Delius could be. Now, some people think Delius is all sort of, nature slushy, snoozy stuff. This is not. Yes, it ends quietly and softly and all that stuff, but it has big climaxes and rich textures. And it's exciting and got some great tunes. It really is. I mean, the climax, the big tune, da 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 ba 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 ba. I mean, you can hum it. It's Delius. I mean, it's like amazing. So there's that. And then the Enigma variations, wonderfully done and wonderfully recorded. These are all with the LPO with a nice big organ at the end. He recorded the Enigma variations a couple of times, as every conductor who does that piece seems to want to do, and it's as idiomatic and effective an Elgar performance as you're likely to hear. And then finally, 4 pieces by Eric Coates. Wonderful light music. And, one of the ways to judge a great conductor is by how well they do light music. If they can make light music sound like great music, then you're dealing with people who know what they're doing, who are serious about music. And Mackerras' light music was fantastic. We'll come back to that in a moment. But you get the Merrymakers, Summer Days by the Sleepy Lagoon, and the Three Bears Fantasy, which is, it's 9 minutes long. It's a major work. Terrific piece. Really a terrific piece. Then, disc number 4, you get two orchestrations of songs that Mackerras made with soprano Elisabeth Söderström. The Brahms, what is this thing? The Little Sandman thing from the 14 Volkskinderlieder, and the Frank Panis Angelicus. Beautifully sung by Elisabeth Söderström and conducted by Mackerras. And then, get this, Mahler 5. Now, Mackerras was not known as a Mahlerian, but he recorded the first, he recorded the fifth, superbly well. It's one of the great Mahler fives. No one talks about it. Nobody mentions it. It originally appeared on EMI Eminence. A lot of these performances, these were all on Eminence. They had Mackerras on their budgie label while they were pushing all of the less interesting other conductors like Simon Rattle and all these other people they had who were not terribly memorable, but they had Mackerras doing budget recordings, and who cared, because he did them better than anybody. This is a fantastic Mahler 5. Again, beautifully exciting, always idiomatic. Mackerras just could take any music from any period and play it in a way that sounded so completely natural, absolutely wonderfully natural, and that's the case here. And then we have more Arthur Sullivan, the overtures to Ruddy Gore and the Mikado. Oh, God, I love the Mikado. It's so much fun. And then you get his complete ballet, Pineapple Paul, which he arranged from lesser-known Sullivan, Gilbert and Sullivan operas, Sullivan scores. He turned it into an absolutely delicious ballet along the lines of Rosenthal's Gaieté Parisienne based on Offenbach. I mean, that was the idea. And it's a wonderfully effective score full of sensational tunes, fabulously arranged, and it shows just what a real creative mind Mackerras was. And again, his gift for playing light music, but playing it in such a way that makes you think you've heard the greatest thing that's ever been written. Pineapple Paul is a delight. It really is. It has an independent existence, but as long as he was alive, nobody else was going to conduct it because he was around to do it, and he did it a few times. But wow, what a great score. And then it ends, sort of inconsequentially, with 3 excerpts from his really super recording of Handel's Messiah. You get, let's see, "For unto us a child is born, I know that my Redeemer liveth," and inevitably the collection concludes with the Hallelujah chorus. But the point is that when you look at the range of stuff that's on here, Janácek, Delius, Elgar, Mahler, Dvorák, Handel, Mozart, I mean, who else out there could have done this much music? Eric Coates, for heaven's sake, Sullivan could have done so much music so well, so consistently well. That was Mackerras. And if you don't know his work, you owe it to yourself to hear these recordings. You really, really do. Because, like I said, he never made a bad record. He's one of the few conductors who you could purchase with that level of confidence. Because whether you agree with everything he does or not, there is no question of the quality of it. And the other thing about him that I think makes him so special is that he was completely at home in the recording studio. There was no difference when he conducted something live or in the studio. It was equally inspired, equally fresh and vivacious and natural and spontaneous. He just did it. An incredible, incredible musician whose legacy, like I said, is spread out all over the place. I do hope that some of these major labels that have his legacy, particularly Warner and as well Universal, at some point will get together and really, really start to think seriously about doing a box or 2 of his stuff, because it's so good. It's so good. And this 5-disc set here, this icon thing, offers only a taste. I mean, he made recordings. He was around from the 50s. So there's 50, 60 years worth of recordings. It's an incredible, incredible legacy. And it deserves to be cherished and treated with respect and issued and reissued and kept in print and promoted because you, the listener, this is healthy. Listening to Mackerras is healthy stuff because it will raise your standard of taste and your concept of what good performance is. It really will. He spoils you for a lot of other interpreters. So, Charles Mackerras, with the music of something, music of orchestral, I wish I could even read what this says. Music, it's script, music of orchestral Oh, you'll go figure it out. Here it is. Maybe you can read it if I can't. I mean, I don't know what that last word is. I can't see anything anymore. All I can say is that Mackerras was great. He was a genius. His work is fantastic. You have to hear it. Get this set while you can. Look for others, hope for others, and keep on listening. Thank you. Take care.